Okay, for more on all that, we're joined now by our international affairs commentator, Douglas Herbert. Hi, Doug. Now, this is an extraordinary session of the Human Rights Committee that's been taking place in Geneva. China is there, Russia's there, both represented, and both have reacted. So lots coming out of Geneva in the last couple of hours. Tell us more.
Yeah, well, what we are likely to hear out of this Human Rights Council, it's probably not going to live up to its name. And that's not the fault, really, of those who initiated this extraordinary session, the UK and the European Union, but rather the two main spoilers on that 47-member body, namely China and Russia. Let us remember that all along, whether we're talking about the UN Security Council meeting a week ago, it was China and Russia that basically were the reason that we didn't have a more forceful condemnation of what is clearly a coup d'etat by this military junta. It's also, we will note, China and Russia were the major spoilers back in 2017 when the UN Security Council, I'm not talking about the Human Rights Council right now, but the Security Council failed to take any significant action against the military regime during its brutal crackdown against the ethnic Rohingya Muslim minority in the country, which led to more than 700,000 Rohingya Muslims fleeing to neighboring Bangladesh. So once again, China, Russia, what is their official line? What is the narrative out of the council this morning? Well, they're basically, in the case of China, they're saying that this is a domestic situation, that what's happening in Myanmar is their internal affair. It is not the job of the international community and its human rights investigators to try to intensify or complicate the situation further, as China sees it. Russia basically taking the same line, using euphemisms, saying the situation is, quote, complex and volatile in Myanmar, and therefore using that as sort of a fig leaf, an excuse not to allow some further condemnation. So what is expected to come out of this Human Rights Council is going to be a watered-down resolution deploring the coup, not condemning it, really, and basically calling for access for UN human rights monitors, emergency access for investigators from the UN Human Rights Council to go in on the ground and to monitor what's happening there. Once again, hard to say right now exactly how many concessions are going to be made to China and Russia, but it is fair to say, James, that they are the giant spoilers. If you're looking for a headline out of the Human Rights Council, it's that the human rights part of that name is basically stripped away by the moderating or the nullifying influence of China and Russia on that council. There's really no other way of putting it.
Okay, and meanwhile, Doug, the seventh straight day of protests, we're seeing pictures of huge crowds thronging the cities around the country. They're still demanding, we want a return of Aung San Suu Kyi. Then we've also been seeing something else going on today, this kind of very formal ceremony, a flag-raising ceremony being held to mark the country's 74th Union Day. So business as usual, if you like, in terms of the formalities. And it's a symbol of unity and independence in Myanmar. So give us a sense of what's going on in the country today and what we can take away from that. Protests, no sign of them dying down for now.
Yeah. James, well, yeah, a symbol of unity and independence if you're broadcasting from Myanmar State TV right now. The fact of the matter is that, as you said, for the seventh straight day, you have thousands, in some cases tens and even hundreds of thousands of civil protesters descending on the streets, making their anti-coup sentiments very much known. And remember, those numbers are probably, just a small fraction of those who would probably like to take to the streets, given the sense of fear of what they know about the junta, the military regimes, no reluctance in the past to brutally crack down and suppress these type of protests. They're doing this defiantly in the face of a lot of concerns about reprisals and the fear of what they know the recent history with this military regime has been. We've had the U.S., Joe Biden, president there, calling on targeted sanctions for the military. The UK is considering fresh sanctions, as is the EU, targeted sanctions that won't affect the people, but the military regime. But I'll tell you one thing, it's a public holiday in Myanmar. The civil disobedience campaign is strong as ever, and it is likely to perhaps grow in the face of the junta's threats to crack down further, including a proposed internet cybersecurity law, which would crack down further on the internet.
Okay, Douglas Herbert, thank you for that.